It's DraftKings Best Ball Week, so I'm going to drop a handful of videos this weekend discussing some of the drafts that I've done on DraftKings. Most of them are going to be really fresh, so I'm going to go in depth in my thought process on the picks. It'll be fresh, it'll be easy to talk about why I made the picks that I made, what I was thinking. This first draft, though, is going to be the first 555 that I completed on DraftKings. This is July 14th. I'm only doing a handful of high stakes draft this year in Best Ball, but this is the first one that I completed. It was a 555 on July 14th, so it's a month and a half old, not as fresh in my memory what I was thinking at the time. So I'll do my best to talk about the thought process, but it's not going to be as in depth as the others. I just thought it would be fun to talk about what happened in a high stakes draft that I did. So we're going to start there. But first, this video is sponsored by DraftKings. So let me tell you about the DraftKings Draft One, Get One promo. Before I get into it, I'll be back in a minute. Football season is right around the corner, and there's no better way to lock in your fantasy dominance early than with Best Ball on DraftKings, where you draft once and ride your roster all season long. And right now, DraftKings is giving all customers a can't-miss offer. Draft one, get one. Enter a lineup in the $15 million Best Ball contest for just $20, and you'll score another Best Ball ticket to play free for a share of $15 million, giving you a second shot to win big. It's easy. Just draft your team once, no weekly management required, and let your top scorers automatically start each week. Across the whole season, every breakout star, every clutch play, every touchdown will count toward your quest for a share of $15 million. Download the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app now to draft your $20 Best Ball lineup and get a second ticket to play free for a share of $15 million. That's two chances to win big without ever setting your lineup again. Draft one, get one. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. All right, let's get into it. As you can see here, I got the 8th pick in this draft, which is not a bad draft position. I generally like picking in the middle of the board. My preferred draft position is 6th. That's my favorite spot to draft. 8th, though, you can get some nice drafts here. And this one went pretty well for me. I was really happy with the way this one turned out. Malik Neighbors in the 8th spot. It's kind of a RNG game for me. I just I mix up who I take in this spot with the players available here. Brock Bowers, then we get a little week 17 correlation right away with Malik Neighbors and Brock Bowers in the first and second round. Feel really good about that. I love Brock Bowers on DraftKings. These are just two players that are going to rack up PPR points, could put up huge seasons. So love to get Neighbors with Bowers in the first two rounds. Third round is kind of hit or miss when you draft from the 8th spot. Really happy to get Josh Allen falling to pick 32 here. A little bit of CLV on that pick. That was an easy click for me. In the 4th round, Terry McLaurin. Now this was, again, mid-July. So there was, I think, a little bit of contract dispute going on. So this was later than you could usually get Terry McLaurin at the time. He's continued to fall, though. So this one, not the best pick from a CLV standpoint. But as long as Terry McLaurin signs, I'm going to feel pretty good about the pick. Terry, please sign. 5th round, Ted Rowe at McMillan. I pick 56. Now, this is another great CLV pick for me. He's moved up into the 4th round pretty consistently right now. I think he's going to rack up a lot of catches this year. So I'd love to get him here in the 5th round. 6th round, this is probably the one of the best CLV picks that I got on this one. Trevion Henderson at pick 65. I guess I lucked out. I've been kind of RJ Harvey over Trevion Henderson for most of the summer. Take RJ Harvey probably 70% of the time when they're both available to me. In this one, RJ Harvey actually went at pick 64. Otherwise, I might have taken him over Trevion Henderson. I'm not sure. I again, sometimes take Trevion first, but had Trevion Henderson still available there at pick 65. Now he's going 30 picks earlier than that. So lucked out there to get him at pick 65 before all the preseason buzz. At pick 80, Jawan Jennings. This is another one that was a small miss because Jennings still dealing with a calf injury. You can usually get him past pick 80 now, but if he does come back healthy, I will feel good about it. So not too upset about the pick. Jordan Mason has been one of my guys all summer. I think that he's going to surprise people. I think he's a talented running back. His explosive run rate has been 7% or better in every one of his NFL seasons. That is an elite rate. Now, pretty small sample size prior to last year, so I don't want to read too much into it, but he's been pretty good from an explosive run rate perspective, from a missed tackles force perspective. Now he moves to the Vikings, who traded a draft pick for him when they didn't have that many draft picks to trade. They've improved their offensive line. A lot of stuff going in Jordan Mason's favor. I think they're going to run a fair amount. So really happy to get Jordan Mason at pick 89 in this one. Brock Purdy, throwing him onto the stack with Jawan Jennings as my quarterback 2. Now with Josh Allen and Brock Purdy, sometimes I'll add on a third quarterback. Really depends on what comes to me. In this case, I ended up, as you can see here, with just 2 quarterbacks. So that is the final quarterback build for me. Josh Allen with Brock Purdy. Nice little stack there. Now, Keon Coleman, this is kind of lucky for me to get Keon Coleman at pick 113, a little bit of CLV value there, and I've got the stack with Josh Allen, so really happy to get Keon Coleman here at 113. Bashal Tutin is, I believe, still my highest exposed player overall in Best Ball this summer. Here I took him a little bit earlier than he's going now, about 20 picks earlier than you usually have to take Tutin. In high stakes drafts, though, I do tend to see him go a little bit earlier. So happy with the pick. We'll see how it turns out there, but a little bit ahead of ADP on Tutin here. Luther Burden at pick 137. Love that on DraftKings, being able to get Burden at a pretty strong value here. He might not do much in the early going, but he was a highly drafted wide receiver. in an offense that I think could improve here. So I really like Luther Burden this year when you can get him in the 12th round like I did here. Austin Eckler. I mean, this is before Brian Robinson was even, there was any discussion of the Commanders moving on from Brian Robinson. So at this point, he was just kind of the pass catching back on the Commanders. Lucked out a little bit here to get Eckler at 152, although he doesn't go that much higher than this now anyway, but I think he's a great pick on DraftKings. He's been one of my targets all summer on DraftKings. He's got that pass catching role for the Commanders, and I've discussed this on a few podcasts now, but I really like the pass catching, third down backs in best ball in particular, because like in redraft, you never want to start them, but in best ball, when they are having good games, they get their catches kind of in bunches. So like there are some game scripts where Austin Eckler is not going to do anything for the whole game. He might be a zero, pretty unlikely to hit your lineup. But there are other games where the Commanders are just playing from behind. They're doing a lot of hurry up offense where Eckler is going to have 7, 8 catches in a game and rack up fantasy points in a hurry. So I love this archetype of player on DraftKings and in best ball, where it's full PPR. They rack up their points, in single games as opposed to spreading them out throughout the season. So not great for redraft when you can't really predict when those games are going to happen. But for best ball, when you don't have to, I really like picks like Austin Eckler that you can get this late. Jerome Ford, actually, pretty similar archetype there. And it could be both of them actually at this point could be more than just the third down back. We don't really know what their roles are going to be with Brian Robinson gone. Now Quinshon Judkins dealing with, he's not even signed by the Browns yet, so we don't know if he's going to come on to the team at some point this year. When that will be, you can see Braylon Allen one pick before. So that one, would have been nice to get that as well. But happy to get Jerome Ford at pick 161. I think he could end up being a really strong player this year. Another player who is involved in the passing game, has a pretty strong explosive run rate, and might have a bigger role than people are anticipating. So really happy to get these two in rounds 13 and 14. Pop Douglas at 176. I think those days are gone at this point. He's moved up quite a bit. Tough to get him there, but yeah, really, really happy to get Pop Douglas in the 15th round. Obviously, Bill, Ja'Cory Croskey-Merritt in the 16th round. You're not getting that anymore on DraftKings. And you can see I got Croskey-Merritt and Eckler on this team, just making the bet on these guys taking over that backfield. That has worked out well with Brian Robinson now being traded to the 49ers. But at the time, Brian Robinson was still there, so you can get a discount on these Commanders backs. So this is, the best CLV pick on the board. Can't complain about 16th round Ja'Cory Croskey-Merritt. DeAndre Hopkins at pick 200. I think he could score 8 touchdowns this year, and it would not shock anybody. So happy to add DeAndre Hopkins to this team. Jarquez Hunter in the 18th round. I kind of just mix in the different, late round running backs here. Taj Brooks, I could have gone with Rashard Smith. Number of late round rookie running backs I like to take shots on. This one I just happen to take it on Jarquez Hunter. I think he's got a little bit of juice. Could be exciting. Good to have a standalone role there in Los Angeles, and then obviously contingent upside if anything were to happen to Kyren Williams. And then at this point, I only had Brock Bowers in my tight end room, so I added on a couple late round tight ends. Theo Johnson in the 19th round is going to be the starting tight end on the Giants. We'll see how he does. And then Harold Fannin, probably playing behind Njoku, but he might also have a standalone role. They might do a lot of 2 tight end sets. He might play some big slot. Pretty excited to get Harold Fannin on these teams, particularly on DraftKings, where it is full PPR. Just making a bet on a talented rookie there in the 20th round. So that's the final team. I'm going to pop over to the Solver Best Ball Explorer to take a closer look at the team, just so you can kind of see where the CLV is at this point. So this is obviously a team that I got a lot of great CLV, particularly at the running back position with Trevion Henderson and Ja'Cory Croskey-Merritt. Let's take a quick closer look at the team. So we have Josh Allen and Brock Purdy. Got a little bit of CLV on both of them. Josh Allen, I think even at the time he was going ahead of pick 32, but he's moved up a little bit more, as has Brock Purdy. You can see here the CLV ADP. So these are the draft spots that I picked up since July 14th. Pretty nice there. Trevion Henderson getting 30.4 points of CLV. Not something I ever anticipated, but really happy to get that. He's going to pick 35 these days. I got him at pick 65. Feels good. He's got a lot of preseason buzz. Jordan Mason, pick 89, got a very small amount of CLV. That's essentially where he's still going. Bashal Tutin, as you see, you can get him a lot later than pick 128 in most drafts. I don't think that's the case in high stakes drafts, or maybe, like I said, I'm not doing that many, so I have a small sample size with Bashal Tutin, but I don't mind getting him at 128, even if it is a little bit of a reach relative to where he's usually going. I needed a running back, and he's got some upside. Eckler at 152. He's going a little bit earlier than that now, but still kind of the same range there. Jerome Ford at 161. I've actually lost a little bit of CLV there with Quinshon Judkins charges being dropped. He might join the team sooner than later, but happy to get Jerome Ford at 161 regardless. I'll make that bet. Croskey-Merritt, of course, these days sometimes going in the top 100 picks. I don't love that bet, but I do love the bet at 185. Really happy that I got him here. And then Jarquez Hunter, for whatever reason, I guess Kyren Williams signing a big contract. People are just out on Jarquez Hunter. I think the bet is still kind of the same. I think he could have some standalone role there because he's a little bit of a different running back Then Kyron Williams has a little bit more big play potential than Kyron Williams. I think if he's talented, I don't think the Kyron Williams contract is going to keep him off the field. So I still like having him there. At wide receiver, Malik Neighbors, strong pick at pick 8. Terry McLaurin lost a little CLV here since he still has not signed. This is getting riskier by the day. Hopefully he does not tank this team. Teteroa McMillan has moved up quite a bit in drafts. I thought he always belonged in the 4th round. Just talented rookie receiver on a PPR site, should be the wide receiver one. I'm glad I got him here. Juwan Jennings, again, still dealing with a calf injury. I don't think we're that concerned about a holdup, but it's a possibility. So that's another one that could tank the team a little bit. Keon Coleman got a little CLV here, lucked into it because I had Josh Allen. I wasn't even that high on Keon Coleman, but I think he could pay off his ADP, could surprise some people, including myself, and in this case, have him with the quarterback. So happy to have him. Luther Burden, strong pick at 137. Pop Douglas, love to get that at 176. And then, of course, DeAndre Hopkins got a little CLV, I guess, at the wide receiver position also. Tight end, Brock Bowers is the tight end one to me. Could just rack up a ton of PPR points. Love to get him. Theo Johnson, Harold Fannin, got a little CLV on both of those as well. So as you can see here, I picked up a lot of CLV on this team since the draft on July 14th, 167 total spots in CLV. And now you might be questioning, like, well, is it even worth drafting when this is a team that has that much CLV and we're still drafting drafts now? Like, how do you compete with teams like this? But I take a look at this team and I like it, but I don't love this team. I don't think this slam dunk that this team advances from the pot. I think it's a high upside team that could do damage in the playoffs if things bounce right. But that's true of a lot of teams. I mean, the quarterback room, yeah, if they stay healthy, I'm happy with this two quarterback room. I generally do 3 quarterbacks, but I think these two could work. The running back room, though, I'm going to start the season potentially without a single RB1 on the team. I've got a lot of running backs in split backfields here, but I don't know if there's any guarantee that any of these guys are getting 50% or more of the work in week 1. So I might be playing from behind. So even though I got a lot of CLV, I don't really have high. I'm not going to project well in week 1, I don't think, unless we get some buzz on Trevion Henderson, like clearly outplaying Ramondre Stevenson, being the RB1 going in. Jordan Mason, I've got a lot of guys that could have more than 50% of the work early on, but none of them are guarantees to. Wide receivers, again, it's a fine wide receiver room. Happy to have Malik Neighbors at the top, but 2 of my top 4 receivers in Terry McLaurin and Juwan Jennings are at risk of missing some time. And Teteroa McMillan is a rookie that I'm happy to have here, but also there's risk there. So, and Luther Burden, similarly, we don't really know what he's going to be. There's a good chance he's not doing much early on. Really happy with the tight ends. But in general, I do think, despite getting a ton of CLV, and I really love this team, I'm not that confident. I don't think it is that much better odds than any other team in the pod of advancing from round 1 into week 15. So I still think it is worth drafting. I actually think my next team that I just drafted last night, I'll do a video on that one as well. I think the odds of that one advancing are about the same as this one, and that one has actually negative CLV immediately. Like when at the time I drafted, it has some negative CLV because I reached for some players. I still think the team is just about as good as this one. So I'll do a video on that one as well. But my takeaway is, yeah, it's a lot of CLV. I think this is a fun team. It could do some damage. But even with all of the CLV I've gained, I think it's a good team that still is not guaranteed to make any money back, much less do any damage in the playoffs. So that's my takeaway. Anyway, this series, I'll continue dropping them on this YouTube channel throughout the weekend. This is the first of probably 5 or 6 of them that I'm going to drop here. So check those out later on. If you could, like the video, subscribe to the channel, I would very much appreciate it. I will catch you guys later.